My name is Jerry Gill. Today is October 17th, 2008. I'm visiting with Phil and Pat Middleton in the Alumni Center on the OSU campus. This interview is for the O State Stories Project, which is part of the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program. And I want to welcome you guys back, and it's good to have you now.
Thank you, Jerry. We really appreciate it.
Now, this is a special, this is the 50th year of what, okay, for you guys? You're celebrating?
Homecoming co-chairman.
Homecoming co-chairman.
Of 1958, and we recall quite fondly what a great event that was. And we were kind of surprised to see that there's a homecoming committee now of about 20 or 25. We did it by ourselves in 1958.
A little bit of pride there coming in. Okay.
A little, yeah.
Well, okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I tell you what, let's back up and do it this way.
Okay.
Pat, tell us a little bit, how did you get to Oklahoma State? A little bit where did you grow up and kind of a little bit how you got to Oklahoma State?
Well, I grew up all over. My dad was Air Force.
Okay.
And Oklahoma State was my 17th school. But I had a wonderful career here as a student. Many fond memories of being here. So.
Okay. And so, Pat, your maiden name when you went to school?
Chapel was my maiden
Chapel.
name. Right.
Okay.
Chapel.
And so was there certain influence? I mean, how you got to Oklahoma State? Because it appears you were a lot of places you could have wound up a lot of different colleges.
I went to Norman High School for 2 years and then moved to New York State my senior year. And the decision was to be between Norman and Stillwater, and I picked Stillwater.
Great choice.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Phil, where did you grow up, and a little bit about your family life?
Well, I was actually born in Texas, and we moved to Winoka, Oklahoma, in about 1945 after my dad got out of the Navy. And, so I went to school in Winoka for several years, and actually I was not so much pro Oklahoma State as I was anti-OU. So.
Was there a family influence here?
No, actually not. But it was like everything else in Oklahoma at the time. You had to take sides.
Sure.
And if you weren't for OU, you had to be for OSU. So by default, I sort of entered as an Oklahoma State, or at the time, Oklahoma A&M College.
So now, what was your major, Phil? What was?
I majored in mechanical engineering with what they called at the time a petroleum production option. Okay. So I was going to be an oil guy.
Okay. And Pam, what about you?
Pat, sorry, that's all right. I graduated from the School of Housing and Interior Design, which was under the School of Home Economics at that time.
Right. You went now Human Environmental Sciences.
Right.
Okay. Great. So a little bit about just continuing on. Pat, with you, what are some things aside from the homecoming now? Other things you did on campus? Where did you live? And
well, I was president of Murray Hall, which I understand is no longer here. Is that correct?
No, it is here.
It is still.
And they're doing a renovation on it. Murray Hall is going to house the arts and sciences, the humanities department. You know, people in history, social sciences, humanities, and political science in those areas. Renovated. It's under renovation right now. So.
Well, we'll
several
have to
$1 million
check it
renovation.
out when
Okay.
we get there. But I was president of the dorm, and then was elected the representative for independent women's on the student senate, and that's how I met Phil.
Okay, it's part of the student senate. Wonderful. So, tell me a little bit. So, Murray Hall. What were some of the activities that you had in the residence hall?
Oh my goodness, most of the activities were just book learning, school oriented back then, and it was strictly women.
Did you have dances or anything like that? Did you sponsor dances?
Not so much at the dorm.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent a few hours in the basement when the tornado alerts came over, but just pretty much involved with. I was a counselor on one of the floors. Okay. So I did that as well.
Now, let's see, what were the women's hours at that time?
Oh my, let's see, I think we had to be in by 9 or some.
Can't believe that.
I know.
During the week, and then did they give you a little bit longer
weekend? A little bit
weekend?
of time on the weekend, yeah.
Maybe like 11 or something or whatever. Okay, great. Well, now, was in your day, let's see, do you remember PDA? public display of affection.
Oh,
these
yes.
days? I mean, that was a serious offense when it was
Did
house
not,
mom.
yeah, that did not happen.
Is that right?
Wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to happen. Well, do you remember your house mom there?
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, do you remember her name maybe or anything
Oh,
about her?
I did a minute ago and it's slipped, but Ashworth. No. You knew her.
I knew
She
her.
liked you. She let me in late a few times because she liked him.
And one of the privileges being residence all president too. That's good.
Helped a little bit.
That's great. Well, Phil, where'd you live? Did you live on campus?
Yeah, I lived on campus. I was a member of Tau Kappa Epsilon, called the Teaks. And the chapter, I understand, has at one time been off campus and now has been rejuvenated. Hope to get by that house and see those young men. But I was president of TKE, and when they had the residence halls elections, I was elected IFC representative.
Interfraternity Council.
Yeah, Interfraternity Council. And the practice at that time was every homecoming they alternated between having the independent women's rep and the IFC rep be chairman of homecoming. And the next year it was the independent men's rep and the sorority representative.
Okay.
So we happened to hit it on the rotation that we were on.
Yeah, there's a story around this, isn't there?
Oh,
we got
well,
to talk. Now you see, you met in the Senate before that, is that right?
Right.
You couldn't met.
Yeah.
But now, what I recall from the 22 plus years of homecoming here, you spend a lot of time. I mean, a lot of hours, and so
That is true.
Okay, now so before you become homecoming execs, though, there wasn't anything serious in the relationship here, right?
We met, as a matter of fact, the first time the Senate met after that is the first time we had laid eyes on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so now I understand maybe Pat, did you have another guy in your life at that time?
I did at that time. I was engaged to a young man from the academy, actually.
Oh.
However, we had broken up prior to homecoming, so
Okay.
that left.
She didn't tell me that.
She told you she left him right after she met you. Well, anyway, that's great. So, but again, I mean, y'all, I think after homecoming become closer and started then dating
Right.
regularly, and
Right.
so this was in '58. So this would have been in the fall of '58.
Fall of 58.
Did you graduate
spring of 59?
in '59?
I graduated in the spring of 59.
Okay. Yeah. And so then, when did you get married soon after?
September of 59.
59, September 59.
We got married in prior to my graduation because my parents had orders for Europe, and they would not be back at the end of my graduation for us to be married.
Okay.
So we went ahead and got married ahead of time.
Your father was in the Army?
Air
right?
Force.
Air Force?
Right.
Okay.
And while we were on our honeymoon, their orders were canceled. But we decided we'd stay married.
That's great. Well, I want to ask you a little bit about homecoming. Kind of what you remember now. You're going to be seeing homecoming this weekend,
Right.
a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
You probably maybe been around and seen some of the stuff already. I understand at that time maybe there was more emphasis on floats and less on house decks. Was that the case?
It was kind of a combination.
I think it was about an even split
Okay.
because the house, and I don't really recall if there was some conscious effort to split it down the middle, or it just sort of occurred by happenstance. But there was about an even split because we had about as many house decorations to judge on the Friday evening before as there were floats to judge the Saturday morning of the parade.
And so you probably caught that about the change. It used to be a major emphasis on floats, but house decorations weren't very much. And then over the years, it kind of got to be
More
fitting,
homes.
and then finally probably over more to house decks. But
Well, even the house decorations that we did back in '58, there were some mechanized and light shows that were really quite extravagant. And I know at our house we did a house decoration one year that involved more moving parts than a Swiss watch. And there was a young man named Bob Baker who put it all together, and we were absolutely marveled at how intricate this thing was. But Bob had done a bunch of productions, set decorations and set constructions for a lot of the play productions. at the time. So he put together quite a piece of goods, and we didn't even come in first, as I recall.
Well, I'm going to challenge you a little bit.
Okay.
What was the homecoming theme in 1958?
Wagons to wheels.
Wagons to wheels. Okay.
Wagons to wings.
Wings.
Wagons
Wagons
to
to
wings.
wings.
Wagons to wings. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, wagons to wings.
Do you remember who won the all-around trophy that year?
Lord, no.
Well, I went one
Would
too
that
far
I
down.
could.
Okay. Well, let's see, what kind of participation at that time? Yeah, I know the fraternities and sororities have always traditionally participated very heavily in it. From the residence halls and so on. Did we have pretty good, participation?
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
Most of the residence halls, as I recall, just did outside decorations. I don't think they put together too many floats.
No, I don't recall them.
Okay. What are some of your special memories of homecoming 1958? What stands out in your mind that year?
Well, in the beginning, we had to select the judges,
Mhm.
contact the judges, get their acceptances or refusals. We had to select the trophies, plan activities for the judges when they weren't judging. So
Did you have a different set of judges for parade versus house
No,
decks or different
no,
things?
they did it.
They
Both.
did
They
it
did them
all.
all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
There's an interesting side story that goes on with the judges that's even more remote, I think. Pat's parents, after we had been married for a while, got orders to go to Taiwan, where her dad was a liaison with the Nationalist Chinese Air Force. They were taking a vacation to some remote area in Taiwan, where, do you remember the name of the place?
no, I
Oh,
don't.
anyway,
I'm
so
sorry.
it's sort of a remote resort that's quite upscale in Taiwan. And her little brother, was with them at the time, and he was going to be an OSU student the next year. And some gentleman engaged him in conversation that they met up there. He remarked that he was an American, so they had some conversations there. And he told the young, asked him where he was going to school. He said OSU. He says, well, I'm from OSU. And so they got to talking about being from OSU. And Jason, her brother, took them over to meet her parents. They got to talking and mentioned that his name was Colonel Chapel. The gentleman thought Chapel sounded like a familiar name. Turned out that he was one of the judges at our 58th homecoming. What was his name? He ended up being a governor of Oklahoma, I think.
Not Bellman.
No,
Not
Belmont.
How could we forget?
How could we forget that? This just now dawned on me, and we'll go back and look at our archives
Okay.
and figure
Well,
out his name. But it's
So what kind of organizational structure did you have in 58? I mean, how many, one of the things that I think that's really noted about our homecomings is student-led, student-driven. What kind of organization, how many students do you have? Not the pumping, but in the organization, setting up the houses and so on, and the executive team, and how many people were you working with?
Not very
us.
They-
We would have meetings with the fraternity representatives and the people who were building floats. We scheduled we set up the float organization and set up. We even organized the parade, as I recall.
Yes, I think we did. We had the whole banana. We really and truly did.
How did you work with, I guess Merle Rogers was the
Yeah,
executive director at the
right,
time?
right.
And how did you work with Merle and his staff? Is there a close working relationship there?
Oh,
Merle
yeah.
was one of the championship people in the world, I think. We will always think it's a remarkable that we had the opportunity to work with Merle Rogers over that short period of time.
He's a ball of fire, wasn't he?
He was a ball of fire, and what a gentleman. There's no other way to describe Merle Rogers as an absolute gentleman.
And each fraternity and sorority and dorm had a representative to homecoming, who told us what they were going to do, and they kind of pretty much, they did the organization as far as the people that did their floats and their house decorations
Right.
and things. But they all pretty much carried out the theme of the Wagons to Wings.
When did you first start organizing for Homecoming 58? Did you, how soon in advance did you start?
As I recall, we had our first student senate meeting in December of 57, and the next day we started setting up the organization.
It's almost a year
So-
cycle, and you
Yeah,
certainly
it's
did
a
in
year
advance.
cycle, and it took a year to put everything together.
What are your, what is, as you look back, you've probably had a chance to look in your lifetime at other, university homecomings or other places. I mean, what stands out about OSU homecoming to you guys? I mean, what do
Well, we just had lunch at the student union. We were down in the atrium area that used to be the dance floor that we danced in. The thing I noticed was all of the enthusiasm from the students, the clothing, the attitude, everything. And that's the way it was when we were in school. But we've been in towns that have had other universities at homecoming, and they're kind of lackluster. UNM's is, I mean, you hear about it on the TV and you look at the news report of it. It's not, it doesn't hold a candle to what Oklahoma State does.
I would say it's a donkey cart compared to a Mercedes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've been to, in our travels around the world, we've seen several universities and several homecoming celebrations, and they always seem sort of lackluster compared to what we recall. And then we saw last year's homecoming report on the alumni magazine, and saw the spread out of what they had for floats and what they had, and it hadn't changed a lick. It's just as extravagant, and the effort put into it is still far exceeds anything I have ever seen before anywhere else.
And you're right about the Phil. I mean, have you noticed that while a lot of universities back in say the 50s even had strong homecomings, then they kind of went away, but OSU's continued to stay strong. Why do you think that is?
I really think it's a strong ethic that's Oklahoma State. It's what you think of in the workplace as a work ethic. There's a student ethic that exists here that I don't think is duplicated anywhere else.
Oh, and we noticed that today at lunch. It gave me a very excited feeling to see the students in that kind of an atmosphere.
And actually, you just pick it up from seeing kids. They are kids as far as I'm concerned on the sidewalk here. It's just.
Does it give you special pride knowing that you were the co-chairs of homecoming to see that the OSU homecoming's continued to grow and expand and to stay major? Well, they built it as America's greatest homecoming celebration, and does that give you a certain pride?
It does me.
Yeah, I don't know who thought up that as America's greatest homecoming, but I rather imagine it is pretty close to being true.
It is one of the better ones certainly in the United States.
Do they have a judging nationally on homecoming celebrations? Because if they don't, they ought to, and I think we'll win it.
Well, now they're putting a lot of homecoming on the internet, on our website, and if you're aware of that.
I didn't know that, but
they're having some pre-shot things and then a little bit of live things, but now you can really participate in homecoming in Fairbanks, Alaska, or across the Pacific.
In Oklahoma State's homecoming. Oh, how exciting! That's great.
Well, I guess we'll have to light up the computer and see where the blog goes from there.
What do you remember? Is there any special event of the 1958 homecoming that you remember stood out for you? Special memory or special event, or something really went good, something really went bad for you?
Oh, I think it was the camaraderie that we shared, even though we were not romantically involved at the time. We had a bond. We were able to work together. We didn't argue about things. it was pretty easy in that respect. It was the panic at the last minute.
You still had that in
Oh,
those
yeah.
days.
As I'm sure many are experiencing today. But I think it was a great working relationship between the two of us.
Did you ever
I
get
think
the
it was-
feeling? Go ahead.
I think it was the emotional swings.
True.
Because we had such a remarkable house decoration tour, and the house decorations were just phenomenal that year. And then the parade was, I can't recall how many bands we had, but we had at least 20 floats, and the floats were all like self-powered. A couple that were hinged in the middle, almost as good as a Rose Parade float.
You have a good memory.
I have a marvelous memory.
Well, speaking of good memory, not that it's really that important, but do you remember who we played and did we win the football game?
No, we did not. That was the emotional swing.
Oh, wasn't it? Oh.
It was a back and forth game, and
Last 9 seconds.
The action was nonstop, and the Air Force had a guy named Rich Mayo throwing the ball in, and OSU took the lead, I think, with sometime late in the last quarter, but they left enough time on the clock that Rich Mayo completed a pass, 9 seconds to go, and ended up winning the ball game.
Well, what a heartbreak. What
Oh,
a tough way to end
Oh,
homecoming.
we
wasn't it?
cried.
Oh,
I
boy.
cried.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see him for 2 days afterwards, so.
I was asleep.
So now that's one tradition that hasn't changed for homecoming executives. You didn't get any sleep, did you? That week, or
Not
very
that
little.
weekend. I'm sure I must have had at least an hour or so
You
sometime
think?
during the weekend.
Well, can you give us a typical day in the life of them during the the week before homecoming? Kind of what I mean. Start us in the morning and how early and how late did you
Oh.
stay? Give us some. What was it like?
Oh, phew. All I can remember is starting Thursday night, because I think Thursday night's when we had
Well,
that.
they couldn't start decorating up until, like the week before or anything like that. It was just a couple of days, I think, like maybe Thursday.
I think Thursday was the start time for putting together the house decorations, and considering how intricate the decorations were at the time, it's remarkable that they could get that sort of production put together so fast.
You look at it one night before and say it's not ever going to happen.
Yes.
Well, that was the panic that was running through, I know, my mind at the time. Gosh, will this ever be done on time? And up until 5 o'clock when they started the judging or something. Maybe it was 7 because it had to be dark for the lights to work. And I toured through some of the houses about 5 o'clock, and I thought, this is never going to get put together. And as soon as we got to touring through the housing area, you could see guys taking the last of the nails and hammers and taking them, putting them behind the displays. But there they were, all done, all lit, all moving.
So you were there early in the morning instead of late at night.
Oh,
wasn't it?
yeah. And then, of course, by the time you get through the judging, you get the judges put to bed, and you have to be there to pick them up the next morning, and get them out to the parade. And you know how this parade, try to get the parade through all these little side streets.
Start staging about 6 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, start staging at dark, so we're up at 6 o'clock in the morning to start getting the people in the right place, and you have to orchestrate how they can move into position, because these floats are enormous. Or they were then, I'm quite sure they probably are today.
What? So all the man hours, the people hours, and so on. Is it worth it? I mean, for homecoming. I mean, some people say maybe it isn't. What do you guys think about that? What in your eyes? What's the benefit of
It's
homecoming?
worth every moment and every penny.
And it is, we can look back on it now and feel the excitement of being here now for the anniversary. And it was worth it. And it's worth our being here now, this weekend.
We talk about everybody OSU continuing what a lot of schools have. Why do you think? Why do you think it is that Oklahoma State has continued? Homecoming has continued to be such a an event for the entire university and for alumni.
I'm sure the Alumni Association has had a lot to do with it, because I think that's handed down to the next generation of kids. I think had we not been in the military and had been closer to the university, perhaps one of our children would have attended Oklahoma State. It's not that we didn't pursue it and push it. We just weren't here for them to catch up in any of the excitement. But they are as excited about our being here this weekend as we are, so it's fun. But I think the Alumni Association, I think the follow-up of students that have graduated. I had a young lady, I had stopped to get my nails done last week, and this young lady came running out because we have the OSU sticker on the car, and she said, "Oh, is that for Oklahoma State?" And I said, "Yeah," and so I told her we were coming back for the homecoming, and she said, my husband and I graduated in 1998. And she was just thrilled to death. She wants to come back so badly, but economically they're not able to. But I just thought it was really fun that she came after me. She pursued me. She watched the car while I was in getting my nails done. She came running out. So,
well, what do you think it is? What's that special bond that alumni have with OSU? That passion?
I don't know, but to go back to your previous question, I think what with the type of displays, floats, and so forth that get built here, I think what happens is they generate a great deal of team making. The youngsters who put these things together learn how to put a project together in a hurry and get it done. And the team building that goes on, just putting one of these things together, is really quite enormous. And you form bonds there that last a lifetime. And it may seem sort of trivial at the time, but you depend on those things throughout your life.
And why do you think alumni keep coming back? Like you're coming back for your year, of course you've been around the world, but why do we get, they're estimating up to 50,000 people to walk around tonight. Why do you think so many alumni come back? What brings them back?
Probably not the weather, although it's nice this weekend.
Pride of remembering what it was like when they were here. I mean, I have nothing but fond memories of this campus and this university. And I think that's a lot of it. We went down into the student union bookstore, clothing part, to pick up some things to wear and stuff, and ran into all sorts of people that are here for homecoming. And this one lady said her husband came here, but she went to the other school. But she says, "I bleed orange now." And I thought that was a cute comment. But I don't know. I think all of us maybe now, for us anyway, is a seeking of what was, what used to be, and coming back and seeing that still existing on this campus, because I've talked to a lot of people that have gone back for reunions, and they come back and they say, "I'll never go to another one. It wasn't good. It didn't feel right. Things have changed." Now, granted, things have changed here a tremendous amount, but there's still that feeling of, I don't know, pride of what it was when we were here, and you still pick up on that. Today, at least I did. I felt that very strongly.
Kind of flashback to 57, let's see, 58, 59, in the first year, talking about, I've been interviewing, the Pistol Pete's having their 50th year reunion.
Right.
The 50th year that Pistol Pete first wore the papier-mâché head. So do you recall? I mean, was this a big deal for the students when Pete come out?
Did they? I think they unveiled that first papier-mâché head at that homecoming.
I was looking at an article the other day that indicated that they
Is that right?
it.
I thought so, but actually we had so much on our minds at the time that sort of passed off.
Well, I'm sure we noted it when he was
For
interviewed.
later games, though, was that? Do you remember Pete being on the field?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely.
How was it received by the students? Did they think
loved
it was
it.
neat? They like it?
I thought they loved it.
I think so. They must, because they're still carrying it on, so.
Mhm.
I was quite surprised. You know, we now live in New Mexico, and I was really quite surprised to see that New Mexico State Aggies
Mhm.
use a similar pistol Pete.
And Wyoming, University of
And
Wyoming, Cowboy
Wyoming.
Joe.
So why
And
didn't
we kinda
why
take-
didn't we copyright that?
A&M colleges,
That's right.
yeah.
Well, see, a lot of changes around this time about your senior, because just see, you were the first, you're actually, let's see, you're in 58, 59.
Yeah.
So you're right before about your junior, so they changed the name from Oklahoma A&M College to Oklahoma State
Mhm.
University. How was the name change perceived among students? Was it popular? Did they like it?
Well, I still have a fraternity mug that says Oklahoma A&M on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know at the time there was a great deal of loyalty to the old Oklahoma A&M College. And a lot of folks, maybe not a lot of folks, but I know there was some sentiment to why do we have to change the name? We like A&M quite. And that lasted about a year, and then OSU was firmly entrenched. From then on, it's been OSU.
Yeah.
And so the name, changed, started using the Cowboys now, because it had been used some before.
Yes,
but
it did.
officially, it was the name Cowboys now instead of Aggies.
Yeah.
And, of course, a lot of the Aggies still their Aggies until the day they died. I know. But how did that go? I mean, the name changed.
I think it took about a year for the transition to really evolve. And once the transition was made, it was like, gee, I forgot why I was worried about that.
I remember I wrote a paper for one of my classes, I'm not sure, it must have been maybe an English class or whatever, about how I began school at Oklahoma A&M, but I graduated from Oklahoma State University.
You were in the 59 class, I guess the 58 class was in the first grade, but you're in the second graduating
I
class
was
at Oklahoma State
second
University.
graduating class, it was OSU.
What, the Big Eight Athletic Conference, was that a big
Yep.
deal for everybody to be in the Big Eight
To
Conference?
get into the Big 8 conference, that was momentous. And for the longest time, we were the doormat of the Big 8. Sort of a tie between us and Iowa State as to who would come in last.
But we changed that, haven't we?
Yes, we have. And I recall the first time we beat OU 2 times in a row. My mother called us up and said, I can die happy now. We beat OU 2 years in a row.
Listen, I want to test another tradition with you guys. Do you remember the Hideaway Pizza? Do you remember when it first opened?
My fraternity brother opened it.
Okay.
Richard Dermer.
Richard Dermer.
Dick Dermer is a fraternity brother.
Okay. Do you remember the old, the original
Yeah.
location of it?
Over there on the other side of where Bates Brothers used to be on the corners.
Over now where the Baptist church is, just across the street from it. Okay. Well, what do you mean? I mean, pizza, was that a big deal for Stillwater? I mean, have a
Yes.
pizza shop?
Yeah.
Did y'all ever go out there?
Oh,
and eat
sure,
there?
sure. We were introduced to pizza in Oklahoma City just prior to that, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Was that immediately pretty? It's a big, OSU hangout now, and alumni.
Yeah.
Was it then? I mean, it was pretty popular in Oklahoma.
Actually, it was. It took a while to catch on, but Dick and a kid named his nickname was Tank Griffin. They were Stillwater. Both of them were Stillwater graduates, and they started delivering pizza for the place. And pretty soon, Dick ended up owning it.
And that kind of spread the word in.
And that spread the word, and it's taken over from it. But it was just a hole in the wall at the time.
Well, what were some of the other student hangouts on and off campus at that time?
Where was the drugstore where we used to go and get those buns that they heated?
Oh, I was down on Washington Street, on a corner there. Where was it? I don't recall.
It was
the
a
name.
huge sweet roll that they heated. And of course, back then I weighed 90 pounds, so I couldn't. But, well, for us, our main hangout was the library and the student union. His last semester of school, I think we spent $20 total for entertainment that semester. We were both poor little kids, and after we were married, we lived off campus. He had graduated,
Oh, wow.
but I completed my last semester.
Where did you live off campus?
North of the stadium on Hester Street.
Yeah,
It's,
a little,
I think it's probably been taken over by part of the
little
university.
duplex.
For Athletic Village area now.
Yeah.
Well, let me kind of reflecting back again to say on Pistol Pete. Do you remember when they had the competition? You know, who was the official mascot? Do you remember that? I think the old collie had a deal where you fell out. Did you remember
Took a
the
little survey on the thing?
survey? Who you know what the student opinions you sort of vote and you could. Did you remember that?
I remember the competition,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like all competitions. Who came in second?
I heard it was a cowboy riding a bronco, kind of like we used to have.
Might have been, Jerry, but I couldn't tell you. Like who?
Right.
I can't even remember who came in second in the Super Bowl last year.
Oh gosh, well, were there some kind of maybe get back to your college years just a little bit? What were Pat? What were some of your? So you majored in then home economics, now human environmental sciences. What was it? Were you in food nutrition or?
No, it's in housing and interior design.
Okay. What do you remember some of your professors you had then?
Oh, golly, I knew you were going to ask that.
Sure,
well,
you remember the dean.
Oh, yeah.
Leela O'Toole.
O'Toole,
Mhm.
yes. She was a lovely person. And my memories involved getting to go to Dallas with a class, and we went to the market, and we got to design a couple of apartments that we saw down there, and then I remember Theta Pond and the serenade that the Teeks gave after we got pinned.
You didn't get thrown in Theta Pond, did you?
Of course I
just a tradition.
And I got doused in the shower.
Oh, no.
If you haven't had a swim in Theta Pond.
Okay. Well, what? You know, I got to ask you. Did you see Adams House the senior year, the home economics majors? Didn't you have to spend a semester living in Adams House? You know, were you all together? Was it?
I did. I was waived from that because we were married. I
Okay.
took the classes, and those
Okay.
classes were invaluable. But I did not live in the house because Dean O'Toole waived it since I was married.
Well, I haven't talked to other alumni. They all remember, well, that semester I had to live in the house, and
Yeah.
it wasn't always a pleasant experience for everyone. So you got a buy on that.
I
one.
got a buy on
That's
that one.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, what do you remember? You know, of course, for you, the homecoming 50, it had to be the highlight. But what other special memories did you guys individually and collectively have that stand out in your OSU undergraduate experience?
Well, while I was on the student senate, I was also selected to get to attend Texas A&M on the Student Conference of National Affairs, and that was an extremely valuable experience that has stayed with me all of my life. As far as they were dealing at that time with different international relations, Russia was the biggest one, and learned a lot about the history and the government, and so that of course stands out. Certain classes stand out. I had a clothing and textile class that I had to take, and the instructor said, "Whether thou sewest, thou wilt rip." And I have remembered that every time I've used a sewing machine. I am not going to rip this out. Oh yes, if I have to, I will. So
Yeah, she's worn out about 3 seam rippers.
Oh, God.
So those things I remember. Other football games, I remember basketball games. I remember, maybe I shouldn't bring this up, a panty raid that,
Yes.
That
Those
was-
are big in the 50s, right?
and I got a phone call from my father very quickly on that one, wanting to know if I was involved.
No. Some of the stories I've heard is that some of the ladies might be encouraged, some of that by maybe throwing garments out the windows. Is
Absolutely.
that the case, Phil?
I seem to vaguely recall those sorts of enticements.
Oh, gosh. Well, I see. Some of your classes, did you have any? There were still a lot of Quonset huts on campus at that time, were there not?
As a matter of fact, there were a lot of the chemistry labs at the time were still in Quonset huts.
No,
What was that like being in Quonset? I mean, you were kind of cold in the winter, maybe on the summer.
Well, they were a little bit cool in the winter, but then we were young and that was no big deal. But, actually, when we got in college, Quonset huts were part of the architecture of the age, because there have been so many Quonset huts built for a variety of things. They were temporary housing for almost every sort of endeavor that
Well,
you
a lot
can
of
imagine.
married students lived in the Quonset huts.
They were temporary housing for about 30 years on
Yeah.
our campus.
Right.
Funny how that worked out.
Well, so now, you guys could probably relate to this question. What were some of the favorite dating places, for couples on campus? And kind of where did they go for dates?
The movies.
Movies, okay. So you remember the campus theater here?
Right.
Campus
Yeah.
theater.
And of course,
And
ours
there
was
used
the
to be one
student
downtown
union.
that I don't recall the name of
I
offhand.
don't either, but I remember the bugs that we had to deal with in the summertime.
Oh, yes.
Crickets.
As soon as the neon signs went on and springtime happened, the neon signs gathered bugs by the million.
So movies and other places in where for
Well-
for dates.
And I can't tell you the number of cups of coffee that were consumed at the student union.
We played bridge in the
Played
student
bridge in the
union.
union.
Didn't they have dances too? And
We had the
ballroom
different,
there?
yeah,
And there
different
was-
dances,
On
proms.
the
and-
top floor, there was an inside and outside dance floor. And I have no idea
Sweetheart.
how many jukeboxes they wore out.
Well, sweetheart dances, and
Yeah.
we had live orchestras.
Oh, yeah. We had a couple of student bands on. There were at least 2 student bands that I know of that stayed busy, playing for all kinds of parties that were fraternity parties in particular.
Well, so just a little bit then kind of back, and maybe we can talk about this, you kind of share with us, is your life, after you left Oklahoma State University. Can you just briefly kind of share with us a little bit of where your life took you, and did your background at OSU help prepare you?
Actually, there was quite a bit of preparation from Oklahoma State. Yeah, I talked about the team building business that occurs because of just the way the youngsters have put together a project in a hurry and do it well. I went into the Air Force originally because when I graduated, the draft was still alive. And as I went out on my job searches, my prospective employers would say, "What's your draft status?" 1A. Call us when you get back from the Army. And so that was just a fact of life and the way things got done back then. So I decided rather than being a private in the Army, I would go through a commissioning program in the Air Force, where at least you can make a little more money. And so I ended up getting into officer training school in the Air Force. Went through that training and fully intended to just do a tour and get out. And after I finished my first tour in Denver, Colorado, which was a really interesting job that I employed my engineering skills that I'd learned here. And I had an opportunity to go to Iceland for a little 2-year tour. And I said, well, that sounds like great fun. Iceland is sort of exotic. So went to Iceland for a couple of years and was fully intending to kind of get out then. And I said, well, we have this, at the time you couldn't get out, just get out at the time. You had to apply, and since I had to go back stateside, I got sent to Malmstrom, Montana, and that sounds kind of bleak.
Great Falls, actually.
In Great Falls, Montana, and it is pretty bleak, but it's a remarkably
Beautiful
place to be stationed. And so by this time I've got almost 10 years in the service, so I thought, well, heck, I might as well make a career out of it. So we're halfway there. So spent some time in the missile business, and as I was in military intelligence for a while, and I ended my career in the nuclear safety business at Kirtland in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
So you're retired. You're living in New Mexico now.
Mm-hmm.
So just did have some connections there. Had been stationed there maybe one time. Or?
We went there on our honeymoon 49 years ago.
Oh.
Said, oh, we love this. We're going to come back someday. So we did.
We had a shotgun honeymoon. I had to sell my shotgun so we could go on a honeymoon.
A little bit different, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you explained
A
that.
different twist on.
That's good.
And we just, when we went to Albuquerque on that honeymoon, we thought, this is a really nice place. Let's come back here sometime. So we ended up retiring there. And
We love it.
really loved it.
Well, what did you get, because you traveled on location, did you ever get to come back to Oklahoma State? And did you stay connected with OSU during those years?
Well, we always managed to take the alumni magazine and pay alumni dues, and we sort of stayed connected like that. I came back about 15 years ago for a fraternity reunion when they were trying to reconstitute the TKE fraternity, and I came back for that event. I was almost afraid we were going to face the same kind of weather because it was like 20 degrees for that homecoming game.
Well, to go back, I forgot to ask you, what was the temperature on your homecoming in '58?
It was about like today.
Beautiful day.
It was
It was a
beautiful.
marvelous day.
It was a little earlier.
Mhm.
I think it was the first part of October. Homecoming
I
was.
have no idea.
Well, it's in the dates.
Probably get the dates right.
But he also served a tour in Southeast Asia. We went from Malmstrom. He went to Vietnam.
What was your final rank when you retired?
I retired as a lieutenant colonel.
Well, what this sort of getting at the close of this a little bit is, what are your you special memories you have of OSU? I mean, can you share some of what it meant to you to go to Oklahoma State University? Special memories that you had that stand out?
You're first.
I'm first.
Oh.
Well, of course, the homecoming, but we grew up. I grew up a lot. Of course, being a military brat, I had been exposed to some high-ranking individuals, but being in the student senate introduced us to some rather sophisticated people. So you learn that kind of exposure helps you grow.
Did the leadership opportunities that you had that help you, the educational opportunities outside the classroom, was that important in your educational experience?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. We've been in leadership all of our lives, be it PTA, be it Wives Club, be it whatever. We've always taken a leadership role in our lives.
Well, what about back at Murray Hall, President of the Hall? What was it a little bit like? What was residential life, dorm life like that? Pat, what do you remember about that? What are your memories there in the residence hall?
Well, I remember the little snack shop down in the basement. I had to make sure that none of the girls got left down there when we closed the door and had the room count upstairs. I mean, it had a different code as far as restrictions on what you could and could not do in the dorm. Our dorm rooms consisted of 2 beds, 2 desks, a sink. I think we shared the sink. I don't think we had our own sink. And we had to go down the hall for the showers. So life in the dorm, my responsibilities were just to kind of keep everything on track with the house mother. And
was there any issues with the name Murray Hall? Then you're named after Governor Bill Alfalfa Murray. And is there any there, because there's a little bit of a discussion on campus now that because he was some of his philosophy and so on, which was unfortunately was reminiscent of some of the time in the 1920s, was racist, and there's some of the students who were questioning whether we should continue to keep the name Murray Hall.
I do not even remember that being an issue at all, because our dorm was certainly intermixed. I mean, we had blacks, we had.
So that wasn't an issue when it brought up.
I don't recall. Maybe I'm naive or was then, but I don't recall that being an issue at all.
I don't think there was a quiz that they gave us as to who was named which hall.
Well, we appreciate you guys very much, the interview, and to come back, and want to wish you a great time here, okay?
Thank you so
Jerry,
much.
thanks very much. It's been a great pleasure.